Hey my friend, what's happening? Welcome to Prosperity Tips. My name is Avery Gonzalez. I want to teach you something today that is probably, is definitely getting in the way of you creating the prosperity that you'd like to have. And it's something that a lot of people do unconsciously that ends up destroying their money flows, right? So we don't want that for you. And I want to give you something that you can take today. You can start implementing and start creating changes right now. So these prosperity tips they're free for you. They're my duty in giving back to people who could use the same information that I was desperately looking for just a few years ago. You know, I'm well known in my industry for giving people huge breakthroughs by the information that I share with them, and this is one of those things that I share often and has been coming up a lot. I actually did a post on Facebook the other day, which is sort of inspiring this video, and I'll include a link to that below in the description here. But what I want to share with you is really simple, and it comes, in the form of a story, something that I used to experience, which was I would have a lot of conversations with people that I would call broke conversations, right? And I didn't know how to get out of them. Meaning, I've heard it before that you don't want to talk broke talk if you want to become prosperous. You don't make sense. But what happens when somebody asks you, hey, are you going to that workshop this weekend? And you literally don't have the money in your bank account. Or what if you and your friends often talk about your situation and how you do or don't have the money to do certain things? It can be really easy to get sucked into those conversations. And if you're watching this video and you're looking for prosperity tips, I know that where you are now is not where you would want to be. So it's like, well, how do you make that transition? So here's what I did. When somebody would ask me, in the example, hey, are you going to this workshop this weekend? And I didn't have the money to do it, this is what I would say. I would say, you know what? I'm going, and I'm still looking for ways to come up with the money to make it there, right? So instead of saying I can't afford it, and then getting into a downward spiral about why I can or can't afford it, I'm starting to really ask the question, how can I afford it? How can I make it happen? What sort of creative ways can I use to come up with the money? So it's a very different conversation, right? Just from the beginning. Does that make sense? So I would always redirect the conversation when it started going down that avenue where you know that it's going to be talking about how broke you are, right? That's the first step. You got to stop having the broke conversations, and you got to start learning how to redirect those conversations in a way that's going to be more generative for you to have the results that you want, right? Both you and your friend are going to be happier when you start thinking about ways and getting creative on how you can afford things, okay? That's the first thing. And now you might be thinking, well, what if my friends, that's all they want to talk about? I got two things for you, right? The first one's obvious. You might want to start looking for some new friends, but this one might be even better for you in the transition period. So here's what I would do. Find things to do with your friends where the default isn't just talking, right? So maybe you go play Frisbee golf, or you go and you work out together. You go for a run together. You go hiking. But you go do something together. Have an activity that you're doing that you can have fun with each other. That way, you don't have to talk about all these things that you don't want to talk about. Does that make sense? Right? It's like I was playing Frisbee with a friend the other day, and it's like we just had fun playing Frisbee, and we really didn't talk that much. If he was a friend that I had negative conversations with, well then, that's what I would do instead. I'd say, let's go play Frisbee, dude. But thankfully, it's not the case with him, right? So those are my prosperity tips for you today in order to stop having the broke conversation, right? Because if you have broke conversations, that will lead to you being more and more and more broke and never being able to change. Does that make sense? I'll talk about that in some of my other videos, but I wanted to give you that piece now that you can go out and you can use immediately. All right? So that's it for me. If you like this video, make sure you like it below, you comment if you have any questions about the information, and then go ahead and share it on Facebook, right? Your friends will love you for doing it. I know that for sure, especially if you found this beneficial. And if you want more from me, just click the link below in the description, and you can take advantage of my free video series and learn some more prosperity tips straight from me to you. And yeah, so that's it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.